Hey Nicole, great to have you back chatting to me. Last time we chatted, it was way back in December, and you were one of my lovely guests on my podcast, which was so exciting. But today we're going to have a chat about money, being that it's quite different out there now, isn't it? And you're coming from the States, and things are very different for you over there at the moment too.
Yes, thanks for having me back. And yes, things have changed quite a bit. And yes, it is very different country to country and even state to state over here. So lots of change. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I know that we're doing a lot in our own smaller communities here in New Zealand, looking at supporting our local smaller businesses. I know that my design community are looking to our New Zealand made suppliers as opposed to buying overseas, focusing more on buying in our local areas where we can. What are the changes that you're seeing in your communities? I know that a lot of us look to other countries for inspiration and certainly look to other countries for trends. We also look to other countries to travel. And, you know, I was going to be coming over to Palm Springs, remember, for my 30th wedding anniversary. And, you know, that was going to be another inspiring business trip for me. So what do you see happening community-wise, not only just, you know, where you're living, but all around the world? We're seeing so many things happening community-wise, aren't we?
We are. I think, I've been talking about spending intentionally for so many years and really thinking about where you want to put your money and who you want to support. And I think this has been a really great time for us to reflect on who can we help in our local communities, even if, restaurants are closed here, but they do delivery or takeout. And so, a lot of people who feel comfortable still doing that are, doing that are not really. So, there's lots of creative ways that people are really thinking about um, helping their local vendors and small businesses. And, I don't know what your government is doing over there, but in the US, we have, the stimulus packages coming out. And so I've been talking a lot about that and how to get people to sometimes that can be a mindset thing to receive help in these times. And
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that, yeah, and so I've been really talking in my community about, we've been talking about mindset and abundance and opening up to receive. And so this is that time to step in and say, my business has been affected and that's okay. It's happening globally. It's not just myself. And to open up and receive what is flowing your way, whether it's from a grant or from the stimulus or however it may come in.
Yeah, yeah. We're also having support in a lot of areas as well. And I think for my community, especially the designers out there that may have just taken that big step to leave secure and paid employment, or perhaps their business has been growing so fast, they've looked at taking their business out of their home office and maybe into a premises. Maybe they've just upgraded their car, or maybe they've just invested some money in new technology or whatever it may be. I know that for some of those people that they may be feeling like this is really hard right now. They took this wonderful step, everything was going really well, and now suddenly everything's changed in terms of what we can do in our industry. We are really fortunate in the design industry in that many of us have already been working online. And, I have clients all over the country. I know lots of my other colleagues and students have even got clients all over the world, which is really great. And it's been a really good opportunity for them to look. I know the students that have just come through and finished my program to look at E-type design services, at look at creating their own programs, at looking at pivoting their business and possibly other ways in which they can draw on some income, not from just where they've been getting it to date. But I'm loving seeing how people are getting creative here in New Zealand and looking at the opportunities that they possibly have in this time of change. And I know you've
Yes.
been in that online world for a long, long time, like myself. Yes.
Yes, it's actually, it's really great. And again, we have to zoom out and say this is a global crisis. This is not just locally. This isn't just on you. You know, people tend to get in their own heads and just look at their own situation. And so I always tell everyone, zoom out and look at do you still have a roof over your head? Can you, put food on the table? We want to look at those things first and foremost, and then zoom out and say, okay, this is a global crisis. How can I get savvy? How can I get creative? How can I have fun with this?
Mm.
And, it's interesting because I've had so many people come to me over the years for, doing e-commerce and putting their business online. And some people really went for it, like yourself. And it's been so fun to watch you grow and develop that. And you're helping so many other people do that now. And I've had people who have sat on the sidelines and they've been timid or scared. And all of a sudden they go, oh, I see what you're saying. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. And so they're jumping in and they're pivoting really quickly now. And so it's been a beautiful unfolding to see
Mm.
people actually step into something that they've wanted for so long. And all of a sudden they go, oh, I had someone that does international retreats. Well, nobody can travel. So that's her sole income
Mm.
is international travel and retreats. So she had to stop that. And she immediately shifted with just days. Within days, she's just said, okay, this has been in the back of my mind. I'm putting it out there. And within days, she had income coming in. So it's a beautiful time to get creative and actually step into what you've been called to do.
Exactly, and I love how you've put these pivots that people have made have created new opportunities. And even just last week, in the students that were coming through the program, we've been talking about, right back in my module 3, we cover social media, and so many people are resistant to jumping on social media. But now we're seeing everyone's on social media, and it's just absolutely wonderful, because it means that, for us that are I'm such a people person. I love popping to my local cafe. I love popping to my local fruit and veggie. I love popping out to my suppliers and actually hi, because you know everyone when you go there. And for us people that need that sort of contact around us, it is challenging being at home and getting used to just the people that you have in your own. We call it a bubble here in New Zealand at the moment. The people that we're only allowed to mix with, as opposed to not popping around and seeing your extended family or anything like that. And it's really nice that we're using technology like Zoom. I FaceTimed a couple of clients last week, and we did walkthroughs their home, which I've never actually done a FaceTime before. I taught my older clients in the South Island that they fly to see me or I fly to see them. I taught them how to use Zoom. And, it's like, they were like, wow, this is awesome. We love Zoom. And I was sharing my screen with them. So even for me, who's been in the industry of technology and working online for quite some time, I hadn't actually done that with a lot of clients because we were able to travel or we were able to meet at a showroom. What I'm also seeing here in New Zealand, and it's really exciting for us, is that we're seeing showrooms providing virtual tours. And again, that could have been something they did for people that weren't based in Auckland in the past, but now that they have to and no one can come to their showroom at the moment, they're making it available for everyone. So yeah, I love this whole pivoting. I love that people are getting creative. But then back to talking about the money and how people might be feeling that they may need to start giving themselves away for free. And this is something that we talk about in my money module. And I know that we talk about this with you a lot. You do a lot of lives in your private groups, which are amazing. And people are very tempted to feel like they may need to offer their services for free. And I know that in our industry, it's been something that's always happened. People might go and see someone for free to see if they're a good fit. Whereas I'm more of the belief that you have a nice phone conversation and establish that online before you go and physically visit them. And so that you're always charging for your services, and then you create lovely packages to sell to your clients. And I want to just touch on that whole jumping back into that place of worry and fear around where will I get my next client? Maybe I just need to be free, have some free chats with people and do lots and lots of free things to make sure that I've got people sort of staying interested in me. What do you think about the offering ourselves for free model?
You know, whether we are in the current situation or normal situation, I believe the same thing. To be in business, it is about commerce. It is about money in and money out. Otherwise, you do not have a business. What does a business provide? It provides money to put food on your table. So I always say, you're feeding your children. So whether you have your business, you're going to work for that money, you're going to feed your children, or you're going to go off to work and you're going to get that money and you're going to put food on the table for your children. It has to be the same. It has to be the same no matter what. And you have to get in that mindset. It's not about you and your money store and your mindset when it comes to your business. It's about running a business. It's a separate entity from yourself. And especially as women, we start to tie the emotional cord into our business and ourselves. And we need to continue to look at the business as an entity, not as a, even if your business is your name and you're the brand, it is a different thing energetically with your money. And so with the free model, your discovery calls or your free consult of that shortened period of time to see if it's the right fit. But that's where that social media comes in that you were talking about. Social media, if we are out there and on social media and we are giving away valuable content and videos and information, by the time, if people are looking at that and looking at your website, they should know pretty much whether you're going to be a good fit or not by the time they get on the phone with you, right?
Yes.
And to do that concept.
Consult.
Thank you. Consult. I'm like concept. So yes, if we're doing a good job of putting free information out there that's super helpful to people, then we do not have to worry about charging, even in a time like this. I have, I've been business coaching and money coaching for a really long time. People are still spending, people are still making money. It's about really pivoting and being creative, like you said, and staying in the game. Now, if you're new at this, it can be a learning curve, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what the market bears. You don't know what your audience is going to buy quite yet. So it's really just sticking with it and saying, this is all new. This is all fresh. You keep going forward and keep your eye on your income, your expenses. And if it comes to it, I've been encouraging my community, look, if your business is not bringing in the income that you absolutely need for baseline expenses, then get if you can get a loan from the stimulus package or a grant, fantastic. Start there, because we got to put food on the table again, right? And then from there, it's also, if you need to pick up a side hustle right now, there are lots of places hiring, and there's lots of essential workers needed. So, look for opportunity, look for things that keep popping up, and don't be afraid to say, okay, it's not that you're giving up on your business or this new adventure or anything like that. It's just saying, right now, I'm just being smart again for just the baseline expenses of putting food on the table, roof over your head.
Yeah, they're really great tips, Nicole. And it's really interesting when I think back to the position that I got myself in when I first started my business, of not really watching my finances and not really understanding. It was something that I totally ignored, actually, if I'm completely honest. And it's really nice to be in a position where I've followed my finances and spent wisely, making sure that there is always enough. And I know that many people out there at the moment, that might be feeling worried. I think those tips are really great tips. And what I'm seeing in our community, actually, which is really, really fantastic in my own private community, where girls have teamed up together, and this has been happening way before this anyway. And where there's a skill that someone else has, they've used someone else within the group to help them in their business rather than outsourcing, because we've got the opportunity to outsource all over the world at a really inexpensive cost, haven't we? And I initially did that with some of the VAs that I use, but I preferred to use another mother in my community where I could. So I think if we can also be sharing where we spend our money in our smaller communities and thinking about, gosh, well, my business is really busy right now. Who in my community could help me out with maybe SketchUp, or who could help me doing some mood boards, or who could help me doing some extra work, and thinking about the other people within our own industry that we could help keep employed. For those that, we've got the opportunity to apply for grants and government help here as well, which is really fantastic. And like you say, it's really important to make sure that there is that money to cover the necessities for those that are really needing to contribute to the family income. And where possible, looking, like you say, there is the opportunity to look for grants. There is the opportunity to pivot slightly and go and approach other people. Come from that place of service. How could you help their business right now? And you've just reminded me that there's the opportunity to do that with suppliers. There may be suppliers of ours out there that need additional help. Maybe their showroom needs restyling. Maybe they need you to come in and cast some fresh eyes and talk about how they could develop some of their products or brands. So like you say, it's the getting creative and thinking about other ways. Also think about other people out there where you can share databases and help each other by maybe writing a vlog or creating some wonderful content. And I know that you share and collaborate a lot in other communities too, don't you?
Yes, yes. I love all of that.
Yes.
It's top of mind for me, especially in the Money Flow Facebook group, and I really started a few weeks ago really saying, okay, who has what? You have a free resource, you have a free podcast, you have self-care tips. Let's start connecting everybody. And it just, the energy behind that is so lovely. It really opens up a lot of creativity. And what I've seen is that trickle effect of it spreading and going out and other people doing it and people starting to get really involved with it inside the community. So it is a wonderful way to help other people out and really think. I went through, I started watching on my Instagram feed, friends that have small businesses, who could I support? Who could I pre-purchase something from or connect somebody to and promote? And so that is such a beautiful way to really spend intentionally and to really help other people as well and get help in your own business. I love the tips you gave around, restyling showrooms, and
Yes.
those are all fabulous tips.
Yeah. I hope someone uses those. Let's talk a little bit about budgeting,
Yeah.
because people are going to have, fixed costs in their business. Possibly they've had brought on some staff. I have 2 staff now myself, and for some people it might be during this time, if things are slowing for them, they want to retain the staff because when things change again, or possibly people, like I say, might have bought that new car, or they might have just invested in going into a space out of their home office. So what are some of your tips on budgeting and maybe looking at where your outgoings are going at present and ways in which you could creatively start to save some money?
Well, first of all, we have to just address the fact that, as you said earlier, you didn't look at your finances in your
Yeah.
business. So we want to first, if there's anybody listening, don't feel shy about opening up the bank statements, the credit cards, the auto loans, and all of that, and just laying it all out so that you can see it. I highly, highly, highly suggest writing it, pen to paper, pencil to paper. Excel spreadsheets and QuickBooks and tools like that are really great, but it also, there's a disconnect there.
Mm.
And when you're first starting out, if you're just looking at QuickBooks, people can get confused, or an Excel spreadsheet, it doesn't mean much to them. But when they write it out, they're paying attention to that number, So first and foremost, I'd say if you're not clear on your finances, whether it's for your business or for your personal, finances, just get very, very clear. Take time, make it fun. Get a brand new journal if you can and write it all out and look at every detail. Or there's a our store has a big, big post-it note, like the size of this painting. It's huge. I don't know if you guys have
Ah,
them, but
well, I use post-it notes, but I don't know of a really big one.
yeah, yeah. So I went to the children's department. I was like,
Okay.
how can I make this fun
Yes.
for people? And so I got these huge post-it notes, and then I use the small post-it notes and
Yes.
I write, okay, what are all the debts? What's the savings?
Yes.
What are the top expenses? What is kind of expenses that could be cleaned up? And
Mm,
and so whether you're writing it in some sort of diary or journal or on a big sheet of paper, it's really good just to get everything out so that you can see it. And
mm,
then you can start to say, okay, I need to clean up expenses here. This
mm.
just isn't working. Or here's my baseline expenses in my business. What is my actual income? Donna, most people I talk to do have no clue what their income is.
Right.
No idea. Have no idea, like they couldn't even pull out a estimate of
Right.
how much they actually bring in.
Okay.
So we need to be clear before we cut or anything like that. We just have to just black and white. What do we actually have?
Mm,
Income on a monthly basis, monthly averages, and for the last year, what did you make? And then looking at your expenses, what's the baseline expenses for your business? What are your baseline expenses for your family, for you personally? And when you have those numbers, then you can start to see, okay, what needs to pivot, what needs to, can you pause your staff,
yes.
and not let them go, but could we cut back some hours, or could
Exactly.
we
Yes.
pause it just to try to help them out? Really cleaning up any subscriptions you don't use, things that you're just not, you don't need to spend money on. Really taking a look at those things. This is a great time to clean it up and get just squeaky clean. And one thing is that we go into the fear and what we need to shift and change. But if we don't have the numbers behind it, we don't know what to shift and change, and we don't know what we're fearful about.
Mm,
So we want to just get everything out on paper as much as possible. Or if you are a QuickBooks person or Excel spreadsheet, put everything in there in the data, but look at it. I want you to say it out loud. Okay, my rent is $2,000. My car is $500. I want you to connect with that so that you actually take that all in and understand what that looks like and means. Then you can start getting into the cleanup or pivoting and taking some strategic actions.
Great. I mean, I love the idea of getting it down onto paper, and I'm pointing, at my post-it notes on my wall too, because that's how I get information out and down in terms of my goals and things like that when I'm planning my visions and so on. So I think it's a really great idea. You also have the money date, and you talk about that in our private Facebook group, don't you? Having a date
Yes.
with money, and I love that concept. Can you share with the listeners about the money date?
Yes, yes. So it's easy, three-step process, and these are guidelines, not rules. So the money day is basically really setting aside time on a weekly basis to look at your money. Again, if you are a business owner, you will look at your personal finances and you will look at your business entity finances. They're two different things. We don't want them melding together and being messy. So we want to keep them separate. You can sit down and do them at the same time, however. So
Mm,
we first want to just start with setting a space and kind of getting into it. I always get a cup of tea and I set it on the same day, same time. I do mine, first thing on Monday mornings. That way I'm not thinking, did I pay that bill? Did I get that invoice? Did the paycheck come in? I just know. And I don't have to think about it all week long and wonder and be fearful of a mishap or anything like that. So there is a protocol that you can follow on themoneydate.com, and it just redirects you to a page with 3 steps. And the first one, like I said, is just setting your space, just, like getting comfortable with the fact that you're going to look at your money and setting a time just to make it fun. And then the second thing is to go through your numbers. So you're going to look at your bank statements, or, open up your checking account online, and you're going to, take down what your checking account has and what your savings account has. And then looking at your credit cards and how much do you owe, and, looking at, all the nitty gritty numbers of, do you have any invoices to pay, or, is that car payment due, and paying that. Then the third piece is really getting into the mindset. And so it's just journaling and really writing out, how you're feeling about money, or maybe that you're super grateful for all that's coming in right now, or getting creative and just having a stream of consciousness, wherever, whatever's coming to you. But you can also begin to ask yourself questions like, how can I pivot in my business? So, who can I connect with? And I always say, as I journal, I start to connect with my intuition, and I start to get answers back. It's like, but I always do that with my intuition, whether I'm writing or, just kind of sitting in the backyard, connecting with intuition. But, it's just, having those quiet moments to say, do I actually need to be fearful around money right now? Or is food on the table? Food's on the table. All is good. All is well, And so it's just taking that time to really assess your numbers, and then also your mindset.
Yeah, and mindset is so important, isn't it? And mindset even more so important right now, because what we put most of our attention on, as we know, if we start waking up thinking, oh my goodness, where is the next client going to come from? Oh my goodness, I hope someone pays me. All of those things. And that's a really interesting one that I just said, actually, about hoping someone pays me. And this is where we need to be reminded, where you should always be on top of your invoicing. And I know that that is often something that people in all sorts of industries leave till last, or maybe they don't have a bookkeeper. I'm very lucky that I have an amazing bookkeeper, and her gift is attention to detail and really chasing up my money. And we get money in advance, which is great for our industry. But for those people out there that possibly in the past have left their sending of invoices, or chasing clients, all of those sorts of things, it's even more important now to be really on top of our debtors. And because we don't know what position other people are in. So I think it's really good to keep a clear and open communication. And I'm sure you'd agree. And what do you tend to teach around chasing up money, or making sure you're always invoicing, or even getting people to pay in advance, which is how I operate?
Yeah. Everything. I love everything you're saying. And that's why when you have a money date every single week, you should have your invoices always caught up.
Yeah.
Some people come to me and they are in this mindset of lack and scarcity and fear. But when we actually look at, are you invoicing people? Or do you have money in PayPal, and then Stripe, and then Venmo, and then your bank account? And then it's messy. And so, of course, it's going to feel scary. It's going to feel like lack, because you don't know where everything's scattered. So, but if you were to pick up all those pieces and put them in a basket, it would look plentiful and abundant. So, so that's why we want to keep everything neat and tidy, squeaky clean, keeping on top of it every single week, so that, like you said, we don't know where other people are at financially. And so I have been telling everybody, charging right on time or in advance, get what you can't be lackadaisical
Yeah.
in this time or ever,
That's right.
it's just keeping it clean and being respectful to other people and to yourself and to your family. And it just keeps a good, clean energy.
Yeah, we're very lucky here. We have a fantastic accounting system called Xero, and
Oh, yes.
yes,
Yeah.
And I've been on zero for a long, long time, and I don't know where my finances would be if I wasn't on zero, because I can easily look up and see how much I spent with a certain supplier. I can easily see how much a client has spent with me. I can easily check how much people have progress, where their progress payment is. And then, like I say, I'm very fortunate that I have an amazing bookkeeper. And so I really do have my finger on the pulse. I learnt my lesson the hard way by having someone that did earlier manage my accounts, and the person gave me the impression that they really knew everything about Xero. And so I let them take over all of my Xero without me still having my finger on the pulse. And that was interesting when that person left, and I found that there were lots of errors. And so it woke me up to the fact that while we can also have a bookkeeper when we grow our business and start to outsource, we must always still have our finger on the pulse, and we must always know how to use. So that was a lesson for me to actually get into Xero and learn more about it. And that's just like you say, writing, whether you write it all down at the moment, whether you put it on post-it notes, whether you use MYOB or Xero, it doesn't really matter, but it's really important that we understand our finances. And that was something that I ignored for a long, long time in my business, in the earlier days. I'm not interested. It's not something I want to know about. But now, like you say, I make it fun. And it's really great. I have another ritual that I do every day, and I know that you're really also the person that follows affirmations and is grateful for things. And I jump onto my bank account every day, and I thank all the people that have paid me on time. I thank my account for growing. I have a fantastic little stuck on note inside my wallet that every time I open it, it says there's plenty more where that came from. And I smile when I open my wallet, you know.
I love it. I love it. And like you were saying earlier, a few more affirmations that could be really supportive during this
Yes,
time.
sure.
In following where you're going with that is, when you do wake up and if you are feeling fear, you can ask yourself, who can I help today? May you bring that person who needs me today. May you bring that person who needs to pay that invoice today. May they have the money to pay that. May I show up for everyone today, and really waking up and speaking forth your day of how it's going to go. I can't wait to meet my new clients today. I can't wait to receive the money today. And it's I feel, as I say that someone listening is going to say, oh, that doesn't feel good,
Mm,
to say, I want to receive my money, or it feels good to receive my money. And I want you to remember that money is just an exchange of energy. So it again goes back to your don't let your emotions and the mindset of your worth get in the way. It's just saying, I'm so grateful that the work I'm putting out in the world is receiving equal energy back, and that means I get to feed my children and put a roof over their head. So it's not something that we want to I don't know, I just wanted to say that because I felt
yes,
like, as I said, that somebody might have that thought of,
yes,
that doesn't sound or feel good.
yes.
But it really goes back to, when you're in business, your business entity has to make money so that it can pay you.
Exactly, exactly. And look, it's not just this particular time and what's happening for us right now that people have those fears. When I do my money mindset module, it's something that comes up for a lot of people that, we want to help others have beautiful homes, right? And so sometimes we feel that by charging too much, they might think that we're ripping them off. They might think that we're expecting too much. And all of these things come up. They've come up in the last, 6 years that I've been mentoring and teaching, not just now. And so I often find that those caring, kind people that want to help their clients more have those fears anyway. And it's about working on those and overcoming them, because also I find that, people do value and respect you more.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. I think I've probably learned loads of these things from you anyway. But they do, don't they? They do.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. When it goes back to that, okay, how much do I give for free?
Yes.
You, when you don't have skin in the game, when you do not have that investment, you don't pay attention to it. Think about how many free things you've signed up for and
Yeah.
you never look at them. But
Yeah.
the things you sign up for, you think, "Oh,
Committed. Yeah.
okay,
Mm.
I'm paying $15 Netflix. I better watch a show this week or this
Yes.
month," right? Like it doesn't it there has to be an exchange again.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
When there's that exchange, you are committed to it. So yes, when you are charging your clients, you are giving them a beautiful experience. You're giving them your expertise. You're saving them money because when they go buy everything and it doesn't work out and then they have to get rid of it all to
Mm.
make it better in a few years, that is a waste of time and money. So you're actually, you can really think through, okay, what are my values and morals for myself with what I'm bringing to the table and what I'm bringing to my clients, and really looking at the perspective of why it helps them, how it helps them.
Mm.
If they didn't use you, what would that look like for them?
Mm.
Maybe fighting between the partners.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
tension, or maybe it's saving them money or just giving them a really quality product when they wouldn't know what product to buy. So it can get away from the money speak if that feels too much for you, and
Yes.
really get behind the value of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how you use the word value, because that's in my pricing module, we talk a lot about value and how we want to share the value as opposed to get fixated on the people that phone you up and say how much you cost. It's generally a warning sign that they haven't already invested in how much value you're going to bring to their project anyway. And so now more than ever, there are a lot of people looking for free. There's a lot of free things being offered out there at the moment, and what I want to encourage people to do is to also come from that place of sharing great content and sharing information, but also making sure that you don't get caught up in the feeling or over delivering and feeling like you need to actually give away your services for free. Because, like, I love how you call it that exchange. It goes right back to before there was actually physical money. And this is something my husband and I talked about on our walk the other day. It's like, there never used to be an exchange of money.
Right, it was a bartering of goods.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, you didn't go and barter for a basket of food and say, "Well, just give me the basket of food."
No,
You
exactly.
know,
Exactly.
just give me the apple, the orange, and the banana, thanks,
Yes.
and walk away. It
Yes.
just it's the oldest thing is bartering, and having that exchange is healthy, and it's something we really have to just get out of our own way
Mhm.
and really sit back. I always say, when it comes to money and money mindset, just
Mhm.
zoom out,
Yes.
keep zooming out, look at the whole situation, take the emotion out of it, and then we can get back in alignment, actually.
Mm. Mm.
Alignment with our values. Okay, you come from that place. I know my numbers. I know how I'm helping people. Okay. And then you get back into it.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that just finishes us on a lovely note, and some wonderful reminders for my community. And I know that right now they're going to be just perfect. And thanks so much, Nicole, for having a chat with me today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
See you soon.